David C. Cook came alongside and said, how can we partner? We want to be a partner in this. And so in our conversation was the dream. The dream was launched in the conversation, really, to get the story of Jesus, because as far as materials that you're producing, 414 has conviction that it's all about Jesus as the head, as the one we follow, and we seek to incarnate as we can in all of this, because he prioritized children, I believe, in his mission. And so we would love to see the 414 movement be an incarnation on this earth of what Jesus would do by word and deed from what he did do. What would Jesus do? What is the Jesus way? And this would be the 414 way. And to do that, we need different vehicles. This is one that was very effective coming out of the Action Bible, as you heard from Reed. This is the story of Jesus. And all of a sudden, the vision, wouldn't it be wonderful to have that in the hands of every one of the 1.2 billion, which is really a wild kind of an expectation, especially from some group that doesn't have any single resource, not a penny in the bank. But in the wisdom and the blessing of God, this has moved so rapidly, and the response has been so quick. Have you already said something, Reed, about this?
Not yet.
No. That, for example, in Brazil just recently, he was down there, and one denomination alone, the Baptist denomination, committed to 10 million. Now, the significance of this is that it's not just putting a piece of literature, and this would be the other principle, in your hands. The idea that whatever you produce would be, as much as possible, channeled through vehicles on the ground, particularly the local church that God has raised up and the body of Christ. That it will get into their hands in such a way that it's not only them receiving the product, but them committing to something in receiving that product to do. And this is a unique way that the partnerships have taken place. There's commitment. It's a mutual arrangement with David C. Cook then in partnership with 414 into the denominations and the different church groups, which is they then write up the response card, which is the local church. They then, as the local church, will be sharing the gospel to those that haven't heard the gospel with this booklet, and then they will respond back into what happens in the church, and they will connect back to David C. Cook. So there is a response process and an interactive, ongoing process that will taking place. We've had a lot of discussion about whether they want to take this kind of responsibility. I remember being in Nicaragua, well, we had many hours of discussion. Can we really, as churches, there were 30 denominations in the Nicaragua event who were participating in the event. Can we take responsibility to do the kind of follow-up work necessary to really provide David C. Cook with what they need? So this is the arrangement, but that looks like a negative side. I think it's a positive side because the church feels responsibility. And so the extent to which what you do involves the church, and the church gets engaged in the process, is also something that ultimately is very constructive to the whole raising up the 414, not just delivering one more media product.